All right.
Welcome to Jesus Christ, it's already started.
All right, this is going to be great.
Awesome.
Welcome to episode 165 of Masters of the Forge. I'm Adam, and with me is Jason.
Hi, Adam. How you doing?
Also, we have with us John. Hi, John.
Hello, Adam.
John spells his name like John Arbuckle, which I respect.
From Garfield?
Yes.
Wow, I knew that.
No H.
No H. The H is so silent that his parents decided, let's do this phonetically. I appreciate that.
It's great. Everyone always puts an H in there, though, every time.
Well, of course they do. But, again, like I said, I really respect that. John's here to talk about his army. So that's awesome. Thanks for joining us, John. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to ask John to give the listeners his hobby pedigree, as we usually do with our guests. John, what is your pedigree? How long have you been playing Warhammer 40,000?
This is awesome. I've been playing Warhammer 40,000 since, what was it, like June last year?
Wow, cool.
I was tangentially interested for a pretty long time. I don't remember where I saw it, but I remember seeing Orcs when I was a kid and thinking, unfortunately, like, Orcs in sci-fi? That's like, that sounds weird.
Oh, your chocolate in my peanut butter.
And
Space
oh,
Orcs.
how wrong I was. Oh, how very wrong I was.
Cool. Yeah. So, wow, that's so great. That's so great to... It's kind of like watching somebody, like showing somebody your favorite movie for the first time, right? Like, you're so lucky you get to watch this movie for the first time. I wish I could watch this movie again for the first time. But like, now, not like when I'm 65 and the years of substance abuse catch up with me and every day is a new day. So you have Death Guard. Have you plunged into anything else?
I started out... So I didn't start out with Death Guard. I started out originally wanting to build Ultramarines. Mm-hmm. So the first model I ever bought, very poor decision, was Robot Guilliman. Mm-hmm. That was the first model I ever painted, and I think it looks good for a beginner, but even now I look at it and I go like, oh, oh no.
That was a very expensive model. Test model.
It's my logic was, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I'll just buy one model and I'll paint it and, $40 for the model. And then I didn't know what I was doing when I was buying paints. And I bought a bunch of paints that I thought would work. And it turns out I didn't know about contrast paints, for example. And I bought a bunch of contrast paints and it's like, these aren't going to work. These are like, oh my goodness, what have I done? So about $100 of paint later, I finally got that together. But it was fun. And luckily I did stick with it. So it's not like all that paint's going to go to waste.
Right. Yeah, no, you'll use it.
It'll get used.
That's cool. All right, great. Well, thanks for joining us. Now, what have you been working on lately? Have you been able to find the motivation to do any painting lately?
So usually I've been trying to paint during the weekdays, but I've been doing most of my painting on my weekends since I work overnights and it usually gets really late. No one's around. Yeah. So it's perfect quiet time for me to just sit here and hobby. But I paint very slowly. I've probably get like maybe one or two tiny Plague Marines done a week. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's over 2 days.
No, that's fine. You know what? That's
fine. Actually not
There's
bad.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, and Plague Marines are so much fun. You can either spend like 30 minutes per model and you just call it done, or you could spend hours on all the little details. So
the details are honestly great, and I've told myself like maybe I want to edge highlight them, but I think they honestly look better without it. Almost, I feel like if I edge highlighted them, they might look a little cleaner, and I want them to look dirty.
Yeah,
like dirty, grungy, and
I think you're right. I think if you're gonna highlight, like the best highlight for something like that isn't the actual color, but like rust, chipping, that sort of thing would be a better like kind of way to pick out the edges than a true highlight.
I've been doing like the old. I think Duncan did a video on it when he still worked for GW, like his technique that he showed where all the little dents and scratches in the armor, just take like some scrag brown or other rust colored paint and just give it a little tiny streak down.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Duncan also has a palette hands painting video on his page. No, it's not even a Patreon, his channel. And it is available on YouTube if anybody wants to have a look at that. We'll talk a little bit about the palette hands later when we actually get into our topic. All right. Well, Jason, what have you been doing in the hobby? Looks like you have some bullet points in the notes.
Yeah, it's I turned in my grades last Friday, so like all of a sudden I started having time that wasn't putting me into pain. Yeah, whatever. Sorry, audience, you cannot see Adam's gesticulating through the video.
I am gesticulating. And John looks like he's on Nightline giving his account of dastardly deeds that occurred. Unfortunately, we haven't, masked his voice for his safety, so it doesn't matter that he's all in shadow.
Yeah.
I could do that.
I tried turning off the lights to maybe have the computer screen illuminate my face, and it was just pitch black after that. So this is what we're going with.
All right. So Jason, what have you been up to then with your?
So I haven't had a hobby bender yet, huh?
With your newfound freedom.
Oh, my newfound freedom. I haven't had a hobby bender yet, but I keep staying up later and later and doing more painting.
Right.
Like last night I realized, it's 2 a.m. and I probably should write my part of the show notes. So yeah.
I mean,
sure, why not? Yes, whatever. Bellacore, Superstar. Or if you want to go with the Jesus Christ Superstar, your choice.
Bellacore, Superstar.
Yeah. So he's primed. I just small zenithal highlight. I'm going to try some more advanced airbrushing techniques just because I saw our buddy Tim's version on Instagram, and that thing was amazing. So I feel like I really got to like.
I saw that picture on Instagram, and I saw Darren Latham commented on it. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Darren Latham commented on your video, and he's like, I actually added him in the. I tagged him in the picture. I'm like, oh, and Justin goes, notice me, senpai.
Well, it was a pretty amazing paint job. Check out Tim_paints on Instagram to find his Bellacore. So I feel like I got to like work to get a little bit better there. The Exalted Sorcerer, Amon, he's almost done. I'm still detailing some of the fun parts, like the shoulder pad. He's got this left shoulder pad that has like a wing that sticks out. I need to work on that. And I had to clean up the robe because obviously I haven't painted like a bone color in a while. And so I forgot how that paint works. So yeah, I did paint the rogue trader. Well, he's not a rogue trader. He's like, well, I was calling the flamboyant pirate from Curse City, just because he's got a pistol.
That sounds like a redundant statement. If you're a pirate, are you even a pirate if you're not flamboyant? That's how I feel.
That's a
the
good
answer
question.
May surprise you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we do here.
Click here to find out.
We ask the important questions.
Well, I think I finished painting him last night. I'm pretty happy with it. And I decided to paint him because I'm playing that character in Cursed City. I thought, yeah, this would be, be nice to have a painted mini that I can take with me. I then decided to go ahead and paint the Rogue Trader from Blackstone Fortress Ascension, cool. Which is the double pistol, 2 servo skull, big feather mini. And the color blocking on that is it's done. I just need to get some highlights and some minor details. Let's see. Oh, Photep. Let me see. Hold on. Oh. Sorry. This makes terrible radio, but I'm holding up the Photep.
Oh, awesome.
This red and gold.
Giant bastard of a mini that doesn't have rules, but that's okay because it's the rule of cool. I started working on some of the details there because really it's, you get the base color down and then it's just, here's a million details, go nuts. So I think I went through and highlighted like guns and ship bays and what looked like maybe either torpedo tubes or maybe
let me see. Oh, those are bombardment cannons.
Bombardment.
Those are bombardment cannons.
All sorts of cool stuff. Yeah. So there's some really great fun stuff on there. I'm working on, having a great time. Although there are some details, the spines where I'm going to have to do just really fine detail work that I'm kind of dreading, but it'll be fine. It'll be cool, Oh
yeah,
it'll be fine. Yeah. Battlefleet Gothic ships are so much fun to paint. Yeah.
This is my 8th. Right, although this one is larger than the other 7 put together, so yeah.
but probably not heavier. Oh wait, but your other ones are resin too. Like the metal ones were, oh my god, I don't even want to, like, you could murder.
Were they the put it in as sock models?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Put that in a sock.
It's kind of like Dread Sock, except it had like spikier bits, so it's more like a Dread, like it's like a flail,
like a Morning Star or something.
Like a Morning Star
flail. Yeah, it's terrible. So my my fortnight has been very exhausting. I'm like, I mean, I still painted stuff, but like that's really it. I've been dealing with puppy dog, which has gotten better. Past 2 or 3 nights, we actually slept through the night, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. He's waking up at 5, going to sleep at like 11:30, so that's something.
Yeah.
But I got I got my second dose of the vaccine last week, so that like tore me up a little bit, and still apparently still a parent. I still have to parent at that point. I feel like that's not fair. Quinn does like to get in the dog's cage though, in his crate, so I'm thinking maybe we could do some role reversal, let the dog run around. We'll just crate train the baby. If he wants to do it, is it abuse?
This will be great stories for his therapist later in life.
I can neither confirm nor deny that is a right decision.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great idea. So I guess, that's all that really matters. I'm sure there aren't any, like, I'm pretty sure there aren't any Saturday morning specials detailing this exact situation or nightline episodes.
This time, though, we'll have you blacked out.
Yeah.
With the vocoder on.
Yeah. But he liked being in the cage. Yeah. He just went in there and closed the door, and he liked using the water bottle. It's no problem. He does like playing with the water bottle. Anyways, I finished 3 of the dreads. for a total of 5 total finished. No, 4 total finished. I'm working on the 5th one right now. It's like, yeah, it's I'm working on like kind of the regular human bipedal walking unit, and then after that it'll be the quadruped like spider leg units. Man, that Matter Hackers resin is garbage. I talked about this last week. I finally got a new bottle of the Elegoo standard resin, and I did 6 prints in the past like 2 days. No errors whatsoever. No misprints, no nothing. Just perfectly fine. So, it sure would be nice to, and I got some of it on my hands, of course, as usual, and it's itchy. It's like that. The Matter Hackers resin is absolutely less toxic, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Like the Elegoo stuff, I can pour a vat of it, and if the print doesn't fail, I can slide the print off the plate and rinse it off. And I can just put the cover back on the printer and just leave it. Like, you can just leave the resin in the reservoir. It can stay there, not indefinitely, but it can just hang out there. Like it's not like it. Yeah, because it doesn't interact with the air really. It only interacts with UV light, and it's got a red, translucent cover over it. So I'm whereas the other stuff, for some reason, all surfaces it touches starts getting this film. It's it's real bad. It's part of the reason why so many prints fail, because it like touches surfaces and it's like starts to part of like whatever adheres things together in there starts to create a film on the surface and on any places where it touches the plate. So it's just bad. Don't buy it. Hopefully someday we'll get some good non-toxic resin, 3D printing resin. But it is not this day, apparently.
Okay.
So
all right.
I did do 2 battleships for someone. Fortunately for me, it was a commission thing, so he basically paid for my experiment with the Matter Hackers resin. Yeah. So it's not like I actually, I technically didn't lose any money off it because he's paying me for the models. So yeah, just a little word of warning for everybody out there.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I guess we're not going to be getting a endorsement deal with them. All right.
No.
Definitely not now.
Ha 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 ha. No. Speaking of that, I also finally set up a Patreon for Masters of the Forge. We're kind of late to the party. It's fine. The tiers are Banner Bearer, Marshall? Was it Marshall? I don't even know. And Commissar. So they're basically $1.50, $2.50, I think.
I think so.
And $5. The rewards for each of the tiers is exactly the same. You get nothing. I mean, okay, so we're thinking we might do a monthly hobby hangout, and if you're a Patreon, you get first dibs on like coming on to talk about the lore of your army. But really, that's it. We don't have time to do more content. It's just I'm in a situation where I kind of need folks to. It would be nice to have some of the expenses paid, if possible. So I just recommend everybody just go for the $1.50 and just fire and forget. If 10% of you go ahead and do it, I think that'll pay for both the hosting and the what do you call it? What are we on right now? What's this called?
Zencaster.
Thank you, Zencaster. Yeah, if like just 10% of you did $1.50, that would be enough to pay for Zencaster and for the hosting service. So think about it. If not, that's fine, because you're not getting anything out of it. So you're basically paying us $1.50 to do exactly what we did before you paid us $1.50.
And we are definitely not doing the date JSON for X amount.
Well, that's
we'll talk about that later down the road.
Yeah, that's debatable. That's still on the. I'm not going to say that's off the table.
So no swimsuit calendar either, or
well, so if I were to put that in Patreon, I think that they would they wouldn't approve of that, and they would shut us down. So that has to be on the down low. Secondly, you have to have pretty hair. Anyways, well, I mean, it has to be at least as pretty as Jason's hair. Jason.
Yes.
It's patreon.com/Masters of the Forge.
Yeah.
What have you been up to games-wise? Because I have not been up to games-wise.
So I guess for games played today, we're gonna talk about Cursed City. I got to play a game. Yeah,
you bougie freak.
I know. I've been called worse today even. So, but I've joined a group they've played a few games and they're doing a campaign. Just a few observations. And I wrote just a few observations at the beginning. They have like a page, almost 2 pages.
Don't scare them.
No, they're actually some fun observations. So if you've played Blackstone Fortress, I'm going to be comparing the two a lot because the mechanics are very similar. It's a smoother version of Blackstone, just in the mechanic. I mean, it's very, very similar. If you know how to play Blackstone, Cursed City is really only learning how to set up missions then after that. There's one mechanic or two mechanics from Blackstone Ascension that have been further improved in this game, such as there's an overall countdown timer, which can be reset, as well as a way to create some random quests that are more random, I guess, for lack of a better term. Dice pools are the exact same, and their treatment is the exact same, which is a beautiful thing. For your player cards, you normally have 4 dice. You roll them. Those are your action dice. You have a dice pool of 5, and you roll those 5. Any doubles get kicked out. So any singles are left in the pool, which means, hey, sometimes you have all 5 dice, and sometimes you have no dice, because sometimes you'll get a triple, So that's kind of a fun mechanic. It's the exact same. The player and opponent cards are similar to the Blackstone Fortress cards. One new upgrade to the hero cards that I absolutely adore is the inclusion of level traits. So your entire party levels up together. Before, it was just you had the same stats, and the only way you could upgrade your stats is if you picked up like a piece of gear. But this, I'm not sure how you go through and level up yet, but you can level up your party to level 1, level 2, level 3, and as you level up, the difficulty for your enemy your enemies become higher, which is kind of nice. Because in Blackstone, it just became just more and more stuff that was thrown at you, and I don't know that it was always that granular, I guess. The cards also have the inclusion of weapon and armor trait cards, and they actually have places on the card. So before you just have like a card that was next to you and you could forget stuff, now there's actually a place where you can actually see that in one view. Yeah. The opponent cards now have their rolled behavior included on the front of the card, which is different from the battle.
That's so much better.
Yeah, because in Blackstone, what was it? You had to go to either another chart or another page in a manual, and it just
Yeah, it was like a chart hammer thing.
Yeah, it got that would slow stuff down.
Kind of like D&D's like spell cards, almost. Where they have... D&D has these new things, something like that, where they have... they put the spells on like cards now that you can buy.
Oh,
is it kind of like that? So
they
you don't
had
have to
those
flip
in
through the books.
they had those in second edition. They were great. I love those things. But all the monsters in Blackstone Fortress have cards with their stats on them.
That is awesome.
And in this one, they have the same thing, but in Blackstone they had charts for their behavior depending on the range to the enemy, what kind of mission it is, etc.
Okay.
if enemy within like 10 hexes, then you roll a dice to see what their action is. So it's totally AI, right? And that used in Blackstone Fortress, that was in the manual and you had to look it up. And Jason's saying it's on the card now, which is really cool. That's a lot better than having to
That is actually
through.
Awesome.
It is so much quicker and so clear, so much clearer, especially some of the long distance charges that used to happen.
But I do love the AI in Blackstone Fortress. Like you can play it without people. Like you can just play it yourself if you want it.
Exactly. Let me see. The campaign system is better, and now you have either 3 or 4 types of missions. So depending on the mission, it helps to either push the countdown timer forward or backward. So if you take one type of mission, it moves the countdown forward like 1 or 2. The thing is, at the end of the countdown, the game is over. So you want to take some of the other missions to push that countdown back. Which is really cool. It does encourage the players to explore all the different types of missions. One thing that I thought was a lot of fun, the map type of one kind of the campaign missions, which is the one we played, is created by drawing from the encounter deck. So you take a card, you drop it, you use that tile, and you have the setup, and that's your first room. And then once you go to a door in that room, then you pull down another card, and that's what the next room looks like. And so it's very, it's randomized, and every time you play the mission, it'll be completely different.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It is kind of fun. I mean, I was impressed with how random it was, the layout, but it wasn't so random that it didn't make sense, if that makes sense. Only gripe. The tiles can be a pain to set up and can slow down playtime considerably. But I think as we play more, the tiles will become faster to set up. So that was the observant.
No, but question, is it more or less annoying than the hexes?
Less annoying than the hexes, because all the hexes had to fit together. And here you just have you'll have 2 tiles, and you'll put like a doorway between them, and boom.
Okay.
So you have to deal with some of that stuff. But those are the missions that actually have very specific layouts. Those seem to be more of a pain to put together.
Okay.
But, like I said, this was my first game, but I helped set up the game and with Da, and we spent the entire time talking over the changes between the 2 games. I do love Blackstone, but with some of the streamlined mechanics of Cursed City, I may end up playing more Cursed City, to be honest. So actually the game stuff, that was the observations. What I do, I played the Ogre/Ogren character, who's a total tank. And then the flamboyant pirate, I know, it's the rogue trade looking dude. And I had a great time playing both because, one, I had the ogre, and I ended up doing like ogre voices, like that tickles every time that I'd make a saving throw, but like real low and kind of creepy. And I started with some pirate voices before the end of the game. Ogre is definitely a tank and kind of a Hulk smash type of guy. The pirate has a pistol that has infinite range, or at least we couldn't find ranges for any of this stuff. And so he one-shot a skeleton warrior 2 rooms over. That was kind of hilarious. I had a good laugh at that. Just like walking through, boom, down, keep walking. Which I think would be very much a, space pirate thing to do. Let's see. What else? Like if y'all had configured, I ended up doing that choose your own adventure random card mission for this game, and I had a lot of fun with it. The scenario had a creeping death component, and map tiles were occupied and then destroyed as the party progressed to the dungeon, which was really cool.
Like the closer to like dawn you get, right? The more dangerous it gets.
It's the closer you get to dusk, the more dangerous it gets. So once nighttime falls, you're in trouble. Like I think all of the undead basically double in strength.
That's crazy.
Cool. I've played games like that. I think there are some horror games that play like that. Is Haunting of Hill House, does that have a time mechanic, like where it goes to nighttime and it gets scary? I forget.
Think it does.
Maybe the Cthulhu game. Anyways, it sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. One last thing, it's easier to gain treasure in this system, in this game. Blackstone kind of sometimes would take a while to get anything, but this thing, there's it's a more generous treasure system, I guess. So yeah. All right,
cool.
What about you, Adam? You've done something.
Yeah, I played a game of AOS with Travis, and this is like our second thing AOS, but it's hobby related. But there's something cool here that I think I want to it behooves us. It is in our wheelhouse to give it a try. So Age of Sigmar has this thing called Anvil of Apotheosis, where you make your own characters. Not just like dwarf general with special like relics. No, straight up. For example, Jason, pick a race in fantasy.
Elf.
Elf will have a move of 6, 5 wounds, save 6+, bravery 7. John, pick one.
Let's go with dwarf.
Duradin, move of 4 inches, wounds of 5. So same wounds. It's a character, so they kind of, some of them have similar wounds. Yeah. Well, the Bulgor gets 8.
Well, yeah.
The dwarf has a save of 4+ and a bravery also of 7. And then you pick like your keywords. So like the Duradin can pick Cities of Sigmar, Fire Slayers, or Caradron Overlords. The elf can pick like Daughters of Cain, Idnith, Deepkin, Lumineth, Realm Lords, Cities of Sigmar. So you could do this with 40k, right? Like you could do...
Oh, yeah.
Or you could do human, or if you just wanted to do the human stuff, you could split it out by normal human, Astartes, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, like, there's all undead and stuff. And then you pick your... Then you pick your armory. So they give you all the basic weapons that you could get for that character. And you can have like one-handed melee or 2 one-handed melee or ranged, as many as you can fit in your hand. So like the sword has 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 4+ to wound. And it just gives the stats for each of these things. And you can kit out, it doesn't matter what race you picked, you get to just use whatever. And a lot of the time you can just rename it. So sword, right? That's not very exciting. You can just name it whatever you want to name it. Like if your model has a rapier, you can just say, rapier, like silver rapier or whatever. Then you pick an archetype: commander, acolyte, mage. The mage gets spells. There are restrictions, like dwarves and Khorne and Saurus can't be mages. Commander gives you like leadership command abilities, so you could kind of do the same thing. Like you could give your character an aura in 40k if you had the commander archetype. Acolyte is more of a priest, so you would have different auras for that, like the chaplain type auras, like attack type auras, like priestly auras. And again, with the mage, you'd be a psyker instead, and you'd have psychic powers. And then you get into the meat and potatoes, like you can add a bestial companion who adds attacks to your profile and stuff, and gives you additional wounds. So like if you're playing like Death Guard, say you're a Stardaze Death Guard, right? You could have little nurglings that attack people.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, my buddy is playing a ghost, and he gave her bestial companions that are just these little ghosts that swirl around her and attack you.
So like Disc of Tzeentch for Exalted Sorcerers.
Yes. Well, okay, so bestial companion can be just little guys, but could also be a mounted beast. So you can add a mount. So if you have a mounted beast, your movement increases.
Yeah.
And your wounds increase. Awesome. Your wounds increase because you have you're mounted on this beast. So each of these things, so like you get 20 or 40 points to start. Then they're like separate points. They're like build points. They're kind of saying each of these characters is about 200 points in Age of Sigmar.
Right.
But you get like 20 build points to spend. And each of the races is like a certain number of points. Like the Duradin is 4 points. The Bulgor is 8 points because he starts with 8 wounds. He's a big dude and he moves really fast. Elves are only 3 because they have crappy armor and stuff. And like some of the weapons cost a little bit more in these build points because they're a little bit better. The acolytes are all the same, but like the companions, like having a mounted flying beast costs 12 points, right? Because it adds your wounds, it adds flying, all that stuff. You can add all kinds of cool options. Like you can give your bestial companion a breath weapon attack. You can increase like your abilities with your weapon. You can make yourself ethereal. You can fly. You can regenerate. Like all this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. I could definitely see creating something like that for 40K.
Yeah,
that could be really cool to work into like Crusade too.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Because then. Oh yeah, there's no limit at that point. So I think that's something I'd like to tackle sometime in the future because I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah, that is.
Now,
because you're talking about y'all were talking about in the hobby chat that a couple of weeks ago or last week, and I was like, oh, this sounds cool.
Yeah, a bunch of us are 3D printing like special characters or 3D printing parts to add to the characters. Yeah. It's really cool. But maybe we should wait until the until the chapter approved for 2021 comes out, just in case they do it for us. We've been burned in the past, Jason. We've been burned in the past.
Yes, we have. My favorite one was a couple of years before Blackstone Fortress came out. I said, man, it'd be really cool to go through and do a solo type, game through like a Blackstone Fortress. And then 2 years later, out it came. It just showed up.
Yep. Yeah. So we speak it into the world. Speak it into the world.
So, right. GW, if you're out there, we're asking. We want you to do this.
We don't want to do this work. Nobody wants to. All right, everybody, let's go beyond the fringe. John, did you think of one
for Beyond the Fringe?
Yeah.
I have a podcast that I've been listening to that I could shamelessly talk about.
Talk to us about
it. If you are into like spooky stories, a couple of them actually. There's 2 that I've been listening to a lot. There's Old Gods of Appalachia, which is like spooky backwoods eldritch horror in like the Kentucky area.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one that I've been following a lot more recently called The White Vault, which is about strange happenings at like, it starts out at like a research station in some Arctic island by Iceland. They're both really well produced and interesting to listen to, so they've been keeping me sane at work.
I like well produced. That keeps me sane.
Yeah. The White Vault is actually like, it's in the format of like a almost found footage, but it's like found notes and documents and recordings and stuff. So like found recordings.
Ooh.
The style isn't like characters talking in real time. It's like someone talks like, oh, we found X note in X place or whatever. And then like the character does the voice acting and reads it out. It's really cool.
Oh, so there's actually some production in there. Okay. So Tales from Appalachia was the first one.
Old Gods of Appalachia is the first one. And that one's more of a traditional, like it's like one person telling a story.
Okay. And the other one is Found Vault. Okay.
The White Vault.
I'm just adding them to my notes so I can... Oh, wait, sit in?
It's the White Vault.
Okay. Oh, White Vault. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm adding those to my notes so I can go listen to some cool podcasts. All right. Awesome. And now I'm looking up at the video, and both of y'all are completely like dark almost. I feel like I'm watching most definitely two gentlemen that are in the witness protection program. So I guess I'm up next. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Audio nerdiness. So I'm going to split this up, audio nerd stuff and my Beyond the Fringe. Last episode, I didn't do the NPR treatment, which is a high pass filter at 250 hertz. The reason, my normal speech patterns are between about 220 and 250 hertz, and that filter causes my voice to sound really odd. So I did run the filter at 200 hertz. I have no idea what this episode's Beyond Fringe plugin will be used because I just didn't really think about it. All right. But my real Beyond the Fringe is the Sound City documentary on YouTube. It's the story of the Sound City Studios in Van Nuys, California, where Neil Young, Fleetwood Mac, Chicago, REO Speedwagon, Nirvana, Nine Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, and a few other people recorded some of their greatest records. And it's a great documentary. There's some language, so if you don't want to hear that sort of thing, don't listen to this one. They do tend to get a bit into the analog versus digital wars, which I've worked in both digital sound and analog sound. I get it. It's a bit tedious for me, but I understand.
But Jason, in digital, you don't get the entire wave sound, whatever.
Yeah, but in digital, I don't have to sit there with razor blades and rubbing alcohol and praying that I don't chop off, that 1/8 of an inch off of the tape and ruin a take.
And never mind that the human ear is actually not capable of detecting the difference, but that's fine.
Yeah.
No one will believe you when you say that anyways.
Well, the only opinion in this documentary that I agreed with was Trent Reznor, which was much more pragmatic. Like, look, I want all the toys. That was essentially what he was doing. It was like, do you do many war games? Just checking. Yeah, that was his opinion, and I just found myself going, yeah, that's the one. Everyone else
I
is
want
a little
it because
too...
I desire it.
Yeah. We're gonna stop the Reznor quotes right there. All right, Adam, what you been doing? Give us yours.
Oh, I've been kind of dancing between bat reps. I've actually been with the puppy. So like I get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I need to entertain this puppy for like an hour and a half. Right. That's how long I have to play with this dog. So I've been actually putting battle reports on the big screen on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I've been watching Play on Tabletop. They've got like this cool series.
They are sick.
Yeah, they're good. They do 40K in 40 minutes. So they actually cut the game down considerably. Okay. I think most of the videos are an hour, but the game itself is 40 minutes.
Okay,
at least that's their conceit. So this is really good. I like that. Obviously, they're slower to put out content because they put a lot of effort into editing,
cutting it down to 40 minutes.
Yeah, and they have voiceover and stuff too, and interviews. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a reality TV show, like clip format, like the takes, how the takes work or how they're edited together, where they'll clip to someone talking about what they did, but they're sitting in a chair in a different room. You know what I'm saying? You've watched reality. You've watched like reality shows before, right? Like every once in a while, where they'll be like filming a scene of something happening, and they'll cut to the person sitting in the chair, and they'll get like mug for a reaction or something. So it's kind of like that. Yeah, or they'll talk about why they said something or did something.
Got it.
So that's really cool. I like that. I like that one a lot. Tabletop Tactics is a live stream, so those are like 3 hours, 4 hours long.
Oh yeah,
which is really like these are 3 totally different styles, but I think they're kind of the top of their game for their styles. But those are really cool live streams. And I think their Tabletop Tactics is more match play oriented. Actually, they kind of all are, but it's good for learning the game anyways. And then you have Tabletop Titans. They're like a British mini wargaming.
Oh, okay.
But without like oodles and oodles of narrative content, and it's more of a match. It's like match play mini wargaming, and they actually care about getting it right. But I love mini wargaming. I don't care about getting it right, but British people are great, and they have nice armies. So I've been watching all those, like actually just sitting and watching them while a dog tears the flesh of my hand off and my toes.
You've got another thing.
These things happen.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So John, have you ever heard of the podcast? Have you listened to Welcome to Night Vale?
I've heard of it, but I have not listened to it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I might have to add that one onto my list because
I think you'd like that one.
I've come near the end of all my other podcasts.
You have two big fans of Night Vale right here.
Listening to what you enjoy from those other podcasts, I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they still produce or not, because I just haven't had to pick and choose my podcast, man, and I'm having trouble especially with COVID. I'm not commuting anywhere, so I haven't listened to it in a long time. But at the very least, the first few seasons are just amazing and worth listening to, anyways.
I'll probably check that out tonight. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I can listen to stuff while I'm at work, which means I have basically 9 hours to kill, and I just go through so much.
Yeah.
Check out
John paints Iron Warrior's symbology on the floor of the back room. It's part of his job.
Yeah, that was fun. They're already ruined, by the way.
Aw, that's very sad. That's very sad. All right, so let's move into the Astropathic Communique. I think there's one thing that's on everybody's chapped lips, and that's the Beast Snaggers. Beast Snaggers, man. All right.
They are so good.
We heard tell of these in the Psychic Awakening Pariah, if we recall, when we reviewed it. My guess was that it was going to be some kind of, maybe perhaps they were bringing the Squigoths into plastic, or just they were just going to be focusing on Snakebite clan, but it's actually something even cooler. It's entirely new subculture.
I would argue that this is much cooler than just getting a plastic squigoth.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
This is wonderful. I'm very excited about these models. The new boys are pretty great. There's some monopose in there, but when it comes to boys, even the multi-part plastic boys kits look monopose when you have 100 of them on the battlefield, and a lot of people just use the Blackstone Fortress ones anyways. So, or not Blackstone Fortress, Assault on Blackreach anyways. Yeah. So it's like, whatever. These guys look awesome. I can't wait to see what the comparison with the regular boys is.
Quantity has a quality all its own.
It's really true. And, we're orc players. I saw one orc player complain about it, and it's like, do you even orc if you're worried about the pose on the models? Get out your hobby knife, get out your clippers, and start going to town. Jeez.
Yeah.
Cry me a river.
Yeah. I've never understood the monopose complaint, because to me, at least from a newer perspective, most Warhammer stuff to me just always looks monopose, even like some of the older stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there are definitely obvious combinations of and poses that people do all the time. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Now, I personally would prefer some kind of multi-part character kits. That's something I would appreciate. Nice. But aside from that, I really don't. Yeah, I agree. I think having new cool models is certainly trumps the need for multi-pose kits.
I think chances are, if you're a dedicated orc player, you'll probably have a few spare bits around to play around with them too.
Oh, yes, exactly. I have so many. I have so much that, and I just built all these 9 Def Dreads, and I still have so many vehicle parts. I could do 9 more, and they would all look different. So it's fine. I would have to get a little creative with the legs, but I've already done that. I've murdered several guns to make lower leg actuators on one of these guys.
I thought the Meltagun legs were really cool.
Thank you. I love those guys. Yeah, it was pretty fun. All right, cool. So, what was there anything else important that caught your eye in the previews this week? All I can say is, go ahead.
There's one teaser that came up. The Grey Knights versus Thousand Suns.
Oh yeah, I bet you're gonna have a lot of fun with that one, whenever that happens to be.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wouldn't it be great if they were in this? Wouldn't it be great if they were just two? They were just two indexes in the same book. Like you just bought it, and you got the Grey Knights rules and the Thousand Suns rules all in the same book.
Well, technically, they're kind of. The Grey Knights are a successor chapter to the Thousand Suns, depending on the lore. So,
that's fantastic.
Well,
I mean, and their units are psychic. There's a lot of. They both have a lot of psychics. It makes sense that they should be bucking heads. So that's fun. I'm looking forward to.
I can't remember her name, but it was one of the new. It was the sister of battle character that was in the mech, and she was also that was awesome.
That is gonna be such a that model is so cool.
I am so ready for that.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't have an army I can put her in, and that means I would have to collect it. Morven Val. Yeah, she rules.
Yeah, you gave away all your
so
sisters.
Hard.
I traded them away.
I sold those, and for good reason. This would take me so long to paint.
I think I saw that model and that confirmed to me like the next army I work on, I think is going to be Sisters of Battle. Her plus like the new, I think they're the Sacrosancts, the ones with like they have like the tower shields and the halberds.
Oh yeah,
yeah, those are cool as hell. Yep, those are cool as hell.
I love those.
I don't really have a problem with the exosuits. Here's the thing, guys. Listen to me. It's like all these exosuit models have like a movement of like 7 or 8 inches.
Yeah.
And then they've got the same armor profile as the unit that's attached to them. So like the Dread Knight is a 2+ armor save. So is the Terminator that's on its body. And it has like a movement of like 8 inches. So this isn't a robot jock striding across the battlefield like a battle mech, right? You're not standing there taking aimed shots at the person attached to the suit. This thing is moving. This thing is fully articulated and is not only as fast as the person in the suit, but faster and even more agile. So just because it's big doesn't mean it's not agile. So I don't think you're taking headshots at this person. Right. And even if you were, they're wearing a helmet that's either a 2+ or a 3+ armor save.
Lesser sergeant.
So, yeah. So there we go.
I think they're awesome, honestly.
Yeah, I think they're cool. So
when I saw the first reveal for the new Sisters Max, I was instantly in love.
Cool. I mean, the only thing that's weird to me is how the arms come down on some of these. They're kind of like a 90-degree angle to the shoulder pad, which is a simple fix. I can fix that with modeling. I can set those at a different angle. So that's really, if I'm being honest, I think that would be my one complaint. But it does kind of tell you that it's a robot suit. It's not. There's no arm in that arm. There's no flesh arm in that robot arm. The flesh arm is articulating the controls.
They almost control. They reminded me a lot of like the robots that the humans use in like the third Matrix movie, where they have like their human arms moving with the control sticks. Out in the open, and you can see that. And then the second pair of bigger arms mirroring. I always love those.
Yep, and a lot of these suits have an Aegis as well, so they've got an invuln save.
Yeah.
So you can try shooting her in the head with a sniper rifle, I guess, but there's a magic warp field surrounding her face that will protect her. All right.
I think she comes with a helmet too.
And she also comes with a helmet, but I won't be putting a helmet on mine if I get one. All right, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to fill our water bottles. We're going to come back and talk about Jon's Death Guard army. And then we're going to talk about some custom rules that I was inspired to create for the Death Guard. So stick around and we'll be right back. Potty break, I need to have potty break. I gotta pee. I've had a coffee and some water and some coffee and then some coffee again.
Hey Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith party bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons. For 736 points, you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar, 15 Incubi, and a Tantalus, aka the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure you could, but it wouldn't be the Slith Party On! But is it legal? Oh yeah! Is it awesome? Oh yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slip Party On!
Welcome back, everyone. This is, as many of you know, this is my favorite part of these episodes. It's when Jason and I get to close our eyes and imagine a world where we can just produce the podcast with zero effort. It's a school night. It's a school night, so I'm not drinking this time. Which there were several people, and by several people I mean a couple people who were very upset. One of them was our buddy Travis, who spoke to me after our first recording last week, the last episode.
Yeah.
I hopped in on a hobby hangout, and then 10 minutes later was like, I'm too drunk to paint. I gotta go. He's like, that's going to be a great episode. And turns out the sober guy didn't totally messed up his recording.
Yep.
And we had to record a second time where I was sober, and they were very disappointed about that. So yes, another sober recording, people. Maybe next time. Actually, next time we're talking to David. We're talking to David Annandale next time, so I probably won't be drunk. Or will I? We'll see.
Maybe be drunk with David Annandale.
That's a good idea. We'll require. Yeah, we have that poll. David,
I thought we recorded drunk with Gav. That was Gav's thing.
I mean, he had a beer. I don't think he was drunk.
No.
Anyways, we're doing too much work here. Jesus, this is supposed to be John's time.
Yeah,
John,
time to push the baby bird out of the nest.
Baby bird. All right. So there, you have a short narrative here, and then some information about your crusade force. So why don't you go ahead with that, and we'll comment on it when you're finished.
Yeah. So, let it be known that I'm not a voice actor, but I'll go ahead and I'll read out this short narrative that I wrote. Inquisitorial report incoming. If you are not authorized to view this document, please report to the nearest Imperial Enforcer. The Emperor protects. Ave Imperator, Inquisitor. Redacted. I hope this message finds you with haste. The situation on the planet, redacted, has escalated beyond control. Entire hive cities have fallen to the rot, and victims of the walking pox roam completely unchecked. The only bastions of Imperial control that remain are a few chapels where the Adeptus Sororitas are valiantly holding the line with the mixed survivors of the 303rd Krieg Regiment and local PDF forces. I fear that without external aid, these forces will not last. As for the enemy, it seems to be some variant of heretic Astartes that are spreading these plagues. They wear rust-streaked cream-colored armor with filthy green shoulder pads. Their march is slow but nearly unstoppable. They have the ability to take an inhuman amount of damage, even more so than I've seen of our own Death Watch Astartes. They seem to bring a large amount of tanks and transports with them, some of which seem to have been recently cobbled together and tainted by their influence. The Imperial Aquila is on them, just barely defiled by their rot. This planet is lost, Inquisitor. Lest we receive a large reinforcement, I fear that Exterminatus is all that is left for this world. I regret to inform you that this is likely to be the last report I will be sending you, as the enemy has been I can't speak. As the enemy has been attacking the compound for days now, and I can hear them at the walls. I've been staying in the command center, hoping and praying that I will make it out alive, but I am certain I will die here. Ave Imperator, Gloria in Excelsis Terra.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty vivid description of what it's like to be faced with the inevitable and inexorable advance of the Death Guard.
Minus my word butchering, but yeah.
Well, that's okay. We'll get it in post. So, yeah, Jason. I had a quick question. Are you using the rules for the Pallid Hand? Or is this a Pallid Hand warband, or is it something you made up?
I'm using their rules because what happened was I was like, okay, well, I have a bunch of Death Guard now. What am I going to do with them? And I decided to look at schemes, and I like the Heresy scheme the most. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just paint them as that. And then I found out, Second Plague Company. What do they do? They're like the vehicle guys and whatever. That sounds weird for Death Guard. I'll do that.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool scheme. Again, as I said, Duncan has a video on YouTube for free for a Death Guard model in this scheme, and there are a bunch of really cool examples of it out there. I like it a lot. It's very much, a lot of people like doing the Death Guard scheme, but with Nurgly stuff added on to it instead of just the green.
I don't want to. The way I'm building them, I'll probably have a few rhinos, but I do want to rely more on like predators, plague burst crawlers, what are the other ones? The mephitic blight haulers, I think they're called. Like less transport vehicles and more like fast attack, heavy hitting stuff too. The bloat drones as well.
Okay, so let's go into the lore of your army, shall we?
So they started out. I call my little war band the Dead Men, and I've decided that their origin does lie in the Heresy. The history of the Death Guard is vast and complicated, but the Dead Men still remain relatively undocumented and based in rumor for the most part. What little known logs survive of their origins is that during the Heresy, shortly after the Legion was united with their Primarch, they were on a planet whose name has been lost to time now, and they endured like an inhuman amount of suffering and punishment. So much so that even those that came out of it usually died like maybe within months afterwards because of the just massive amounts of chemical weapons and stuff that they had to face up against. But true to Death Guard fashion, even back in the Heresy days, they were pretty much unfazed by it, and they pushed through anyways and managed to take the planet.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of those Heresy stories are basically
look how badass X Legion is.
Mythologically, the Astartes were mythologically powerful, and the Death Guard were exemplars of the of martial toughness.
They were extremely loyal to Mortarion, though, and so at the outset of the Heresy, they didn't side with I can't remember his name now, and that's honestly awful.
Horus?
Typhus?
No, not Typhus. They sided with him. I'm talking about he became a Grey Knight. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Garrow.
Oh, yeah, Garrow.
Nathaniel Garrow. They were not among the forces that were on Isfahan 3 that decided to turn against their legions.
Okay. Yeah, well, they're not They're not traitorous scumbags. Oh, false emperor, gross.
Oh, they're the traitor scumbags.
I mean, they are, but they're not, right? Like, from their point of view.
screw this emperor guy. Whatever.
They're hanging with Morty.
Smells.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
From there, they didn't do anything of note during the heresy.
Uh-huh.
They were at the Siege of Terra, all that fun stuff. Forcibly turned to Nurgle, although they were among the first to be openly accepting of the Plague God. Believing
when
that
you're in such dire straits like the siege, if you really could, I could really use an extra point of toughness. So let's do this.
Come on, Papa Nurgle.
Yeah. Oh wait, this is 7th edition. We'll also have Feel No Pain. Yeah, I'll do it.
Absolutely.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I guess where my narrative starts with them would be fairly recently, and I'm counting this. This was a game that I played with a friend of mine. We played a game of Kill Team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Death Guard versus Orcs. So I had my guys, he had his guys. And they were fighting. They were trying to take over this Imperial planet, and then the Orcs showed up. And they were just like, well, man, can't. I'm sorry, I can't swear.
That's fine.
It's okay, I'll forget.
Orcs show up, and they were like literally just about to take over this hive city, and they're like, oh, we're so close. And then suddenly the Orcs show up, and Orcs do what the Orcs do, and they're like, we's got to fight.
Well, yeah. Thank you for bringing us this worthy opponent.
So the current leader at the time, Golron the Unclean, was notably extremely upset over this. He had developed like the perfect. He was a biologist putrefier, and he had developed the perfect plague in his mind to take over this city, and it was completely ineffective against the Orcs. And so, much to the dismay of his then second in command, Colorosius Murno, they decided to pull back and regather their strength and forces.
Okay. I really like this little bit you have here about how the Orcs took the infected squigs and made chicken soup out of them.
Yeah, they'd heard about this while they were on the Hive World, and they were starting to get sick, but they heard about this old Earth human miracle cure, whatever that was. And they got really hyped about it. They managed to secure enough infected squig remains during the kill team bout after they killed another Death Guard champion whose name now escapes me, but he's long dead now.
Mm-hmm.
They were unfortunately not victorious in that. And at the end of the day, the Orcs were victorious. This kind of peeved off Mr. Murno, who ended up leading a mutiny against Golrot because he felt like he was weak. And ultimately he won.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since, they've just been kind of cruising around, going to where they can and beating up as many Imperials as they can find.
Nice. So I really like... So Orcs... I really do think it is possible for Nurgle to infect Orcs. I don't think Orcs are...
It's nebulous at best.
Yeah, I could definitely see... So when it comes to the warp, right? I guess you get a strong enough will behind an infection, and you could actually get it to work. But I think I think that that Nurgle would not waste an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would be the point of just killing all the orcs with an illness, right? That's an incredible waste, especially considering how orcs reproduce.
Yeah.
Imagine the disease that you could spread using the orc method of reproduction.
Maybe it was the perfect disease, and now the orcs are carriers.
Yeah, you never know.
It's a story for another day.
That is a story for another day.
Yeah, there's an orc army idea right
now
there.
Now you can add Nurgle orcs to your demon orcs.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, Adam, you can add Nurgle orcs. That'd be cool.
No,
Adam.
That's exactly what I need. Is another
another
project.
Big project.
Oh, come on.
Obvious. Yeah, that's fine. All right, what happened next with the warband, John?
So now that Colorosius Murno, who is a Lord of Contagion, was in charge, and he was less focused on developing the perfect plague, and more focused on trying to burn a path straight to Terra so he could absolutely destroy the Emperor. That is his goal.
Mm-hmm.
He very much
goal?
dislikes. Yeah. He is almost unreasonably angry in this pursuit. And oddly enough, he's I would guess for a member of the Death Guard, he's not so religious. Like he's like, yeah, whatever, Nurgle gives me cool things, but I'm not about that. And he clashes regularly with his Tallyman advisor, who's Mr. always speaking in syllables of 7 and 3 and being very cryptic about it too.
This reminds me of the relationship between Radigan, no, not Radigan. Who is it? Anyway, remember the American Tail, the villain from American Tail had a cricket who is his accountant. Reminds me of that.
Sounds
relationship. You're probably 27 years younger than me and don't remember the American Tail movie, but that's fine.
It's like the animated one about the little mice, right?
Yeah, that's it. The
I watched it forever ago. I can't remember though.
Well, I couldn't even remember the name of the villain, so that's my bad. Anyways, I can imagine the relationships between these characters being somewhat frayed. When it comes to Chaos, like Astarte, like Heretic Astarte's characters, they rarely are just buddies. I've never read a story where Chaos characters just get along.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, I wanted to represent that. Even like with the way he managed to take charge of the warband was, yeah, I killed the previous leader because I didn't like how he was running things.
Well, no, I mean it's easy for a biologist putrefier to be singularly focused on, developing the perfect contagion. It is their main focus, and they get hyper focused on it. And that's something I can relate to. Like every once in a while, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, I need to finish this one part on this model. I need to finish this one highlight
mini.
over them. I need to finish this highlight. And Wendy's like, Adam, the baby is going to die if we don't feed him. And I'm like, listen, I need to finish this one highlight and I'll be done. It's fine. So what happened next?
Shortly after he took charge and he began his crusade, for lack of better terms, towards Terra. he started to pick up some more heat from what's it called? They started to get some more inquisitorial attention. And eventually on another planet that I'm not going to name because I'm very awful with names.
That was really great. Like your
I like
your
to
narrative,
leave things redacted.
your narrative part, you just redacted all the proper nouns. That's class work right there. That's what you do.
But he was pursued by a leader of the Grey Knights known as Lord Barbatos.
Mm-hmm. I remember you talking about this previously. I think we were playing a game or something. You were talking about this guy. Do you have this army, or you were thinking about making this army?
I don't have a Grey Knights army. I really like them, and I would like to make a Grey Knights army someday.
Uh-huh.
But it's just I want to make a lot of armies.
Don't we all? That is
fact.
I threw Krieg in that report too because the next army I planned on making was Krieg, and then the models aren't coming back. It looks like so. Oops.
Well, there's always Victoria miniatures if you want to.
That's
create.
True.
Yeah. Because well, I think we've been champions of Victoria the entire time that we've talked about her. So yeah.
But Lord Barbatos is a member of the Grey Knights, and he, through sort of just like coincidence of just fighting them a lot, he's become somewhat of an expert in Nurgle demons. And he was tasked by an Inquisitor from the Ordo Malleus into hunting down and destroying the dead men.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they've clashed about 5 times, and usually when they clash, it's like a immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. It is just disastrous for all parties involved.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not like the Death Guard. The Death Guard also have powerful magics, and it's not. The Grey Knights are well suited against that, but they also have Holy Aegis and the Tartaros pattern. Terminator armor of the Death Guard is pretty impregnable. I mean, the Plague Marines themselves, it's definitely a great matchup, I think.
But more often than not, though, it's usually the dead men who end up cutting their losses and retreating back into the Eye of Terror. Although, now with the Cicatrix Maledictum, they've sort of had free reign of the place. They can just... They've been popping in and out of that thing wherever they want, and it's been they've seen less and less of Barbatos because of it.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I really like the idea of that matchup, the Death Guard versus the Grey Knights. I think that's really neat. You get a lot of similarities, but also from a thematic perspective, like if you throw them on the battlefield, you'll have a lot of similar silhouettes on the battlefield, but totally different paint schemes, totally different mindsets. I think that's really neat when you can kind of have echoes of similarity, but very different. I think that's a lot of fun when you get that.
Yeah. Another reason why I chose the Second Plague Company is, I believe, if I open up the book, they have this thing called the Ferric Blight. And I think somewhere, I don't remember where I read it. I'm pretty sure it was in the Codex. But I read a short story about like these knights that they fought some members of the Second Plague Company, and they caught the Ferric Blight, and the knights beat them, but then were eventually corrupted by it. Right. So these guys have that same thing. And
it's like a contagious rust.
Yeah. It's nasty stuff. But how I put that in my narrative was that these guys are, since they favor their tanks and their vehicles so much, these guys are scavengers, which I think also makes sense for a Chaos Warband. I can't imagine that they have supply lines and anything like that.
No, they take what they need.
Yeah.
So regularly after battles, they'll just take whatever Imperial equipment's laying around. If there's a vehicle that hasn't exploded, they'll use their Ferric Blight to heal it back up or whatever and corrupt its machine spirit so that it serves them.
Yeah, the Book of Rust has a few short stories about that. Well, there was one in particular where the Lord of Contagion opens up, has his guys open up a motor pool, and they find a whole bunch of tanks in there, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we can use these." But as they're walking through, the Ferric Blight just immediately starts taking over the vehicles.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and they use them for their own purposes. Yeah, I really like the idea of that second plague company, the Pallid Hand, and their giant motor pool of predators and demon engines and stuff.
And I decided to take it further because it's not sick and twisted enough that they just steal their vehicles, but when they're fighting other Astartes, they'll after they win, they'll go about the battlefield and they'll look for wounded, and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, this guy's still breathing," and then they'll take him, and instead of interring, like, they still inter some of their own members into Hellbrutes as punishment, but they will take like wounded loyalists off the battlefield and be like, "Okay, we're gonna take you in and we're gonna show you the gift of Nurgle," and they'll throw them in a Hellbrute.
Wow,
so brutal.
Yeah,
that is so brutal. We had an episode on Hellbrutes before, and it's people are a little salty that there's no quote unquote Chaos Dreadnought right now in the line, but that's because
they're all Hellbrutes.
A Chaos Dreadnought is only a Chaos Dreadnought for like
30 seconds.
A few days, and then after a while, after their first translation through the warp or wherever it is they're holed up, man, they get a little
twisted.
They get really messed up. Yeah, every quote unquote Chaos Dreadnought eventually becomes a Hellbrute. Oh, that is nasty. That is nasty.
And if they're like a recognizable champion, they'll make sure that their face is exposed too, just for extra demoralization.
Right. And it doesn't stop at Astartes either, right? According to your notes, they pretty much recruit from everywhere, just like any other Chaos Warband, right?
Yeah, they got their, I guess, slaves probably.
Well,
but they pick up. Hey, you look like you're relatively healthy and can take some corrupted gene seed. Here you go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And for some people, the cults go real deep in some of these planets. Reading through the Book of Rust, they're pretty insidious, because when you're talking to people about eternal life, that can be appealing. I'm not sure why, if you live in the Imperium, you'd want to live forever. But, if you want to live free of, mortality, the Nurgle is the one for you, right?
Yeah. I would think absolutely. When you take some poor like hive serf or under hive citizen, and you go like, "Hey, all you got to do is like pray to this thing, and you won't have any pain or anything anymore." It's a very appealing deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. When life in the Imperium seems worse than the offering of, eternal life through contagion, you got to work on your PR, Emperor.
I always imagine that with the chaos cults, they probably don't tell you like the negative thing either.
No, they probably
don't go like, oh yeah, through eternal sickness you'll live on. They'll just be like, oh no, you'll be happy, you'll have eternal life, you'll never feel any pain anymore.
Yeah, I mean, sure, your insides will be on your outsides, they're smiling, but they're all happy. Yeah. I
have never seen a frowning poxwalker.
No, well, they're not. They are very happy. The Nurglings are all happy. All the demons are happy. I did a little research on some poxwalkers during this when we're doing the notes, and I noticed that there is a. This was on one of the wikis, but the references are Death Guard 8th Edition Codex. Mm-hmm. Inquisitor, the Thorians for the Inquisitor game by Gab Thorpe.
I have that PDF.
And Cadian Blood by ADB. There is a Minoris Ordo called the Ordo Sepulturum. Ordo Sepulturum is a part of the Inquisition that deals with the undead. And they consider poxwalkers to be like an undead creature.
Oh.
That could be where this Inquisitor that's been kind of investigating the dead men could be from the Ordo Sepulturum.
I'll definitely take that suggestion because, as you know, I'm pretty new to 40K as a whole, so I'm always learning new stuff about it.
Well, there's
which
so
is
much.
Another reason why I wanted to keep Army Origins so open.
Right. Yeah, locking yourself into something early on, especially when you're new, can be kind of self-defeating. I mean, there's nothing wrong with retconning stuff, especially if it's your own lore as you learn new things, but it'd be nice to kind of let it build on its own, right?
Yeah, I'll just do what GW does and go like, oh, yeah, that person who made that record was super wrong, actually.
Yeah, that person was really... that person got tricked by the Ruinous Powers into providing a false report. They were executed.
That wasn't one of the dead men. That was an Alpha Legion guy in a dead man suit.
There you go.
Edgar suit. So when you put an army together for the dead men, what are you looking at? Do you do heavy demon engines?
Yeah, so I made a crusade army the other day.
Okay.
Just because I was like, I want to have something together, even if I'm not 100% on the weapon loadouts yet, just because I do have more models to assemble. And I figure I can just change them later. But so far for my army list, I have my warband leader, Colorosius Murno, who is a Lord of Contagion. And he's got not the Man Reaper, but whatever, I think it's called the Plague Cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
That axe does work. I played against Talbaz and his salamanders the other day. And I literally chopped through 3 aggressors in one swing. It was awesome.
Oh, that's delightful. He had it coming to him. He's meaning to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then I've got...
What else?
I've got 2 Plague Marine squads. I've got one squad that I like to call Shoot Squad. That's because they have all the guns. I've got them kitted out with a Blight launcher, a Plague Spewer, and then the champion has a plasma gun. And then just the other 2 Marines in that squad of 5 have bolt guns. I wanted to do squads of 7 really badly, but I didn't want to do power rating. I didn't want to pay 12 power rating for 2 extra models. So I was like,
So when I play with cult troops, when I was playing with Jason, with my Emperor's Children, playing with anybody really with my Emperor's Children, I would pay for 1 extra unit and then just sprinkle those models into the other units. So if you were to pay for like one additional 5-man unit, you could add 2 guys to each of those other 2 units if you wanted to, and it would be a lot less spendy.
Yeah, that would be good, actually.
Most people wouldn't care, dude. I assure you. What's the power level for a unit of Poxwalker or a unit of a Plague Marine? 7?
A unit of Plague Marines is 6 power level.
6 power. So it's like 1.2 power per guy or something like that. Mm-hmm. So if you were to pay 3 power to add 2 extra guys, nobody would care.
Yeah.
Nobody would care. That's just a thought. Just a thought for going forward. I bet most people would be like, yes, do that. That would be cool.
Yeah. And then for Beat Squad, I've got 1 guy with an icon of despair.
Mm-hmm.
Another with a Great Plague Cleaver, which I love those. They're like the giant power axes that they have.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
Another guy with a Flail of Corruption, which I also love. That's the, like, each attack counts as 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are great. Those are I love flail weapons in 40K. I love how they're using them.
They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got another guy with a Bubotic Axe, which, as far as I can tell, is a one-handed melee weapon, so he's just got a bolt or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let's see, the Plague Champion leading them has a Power Fist and a Bolt Pistol.
I love that.
I love that. I was going to give him like a Demonic Plague Blade, but I decided that Power Fists were cooler.
They are cooler.
Yeah.
They're so sick.
You can smear schmutz all over the fist too. Makes it even cooler.
Smear schmutz.
Smear schmutz. You put some schmutz on the fist.
Put some like Nurgle's Rot mixed with Blood for the Blood God on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Make
go.
it look all gross and drippy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Devlin mud, depending on how R-rated you want to make your implications.
They gross.
That's super gross. Super gross. I will uppercut your butthole. Moving on. See, I had to spell it out. I had to take the innuendo. I had to take the innuendo and then massage it into just a blatant explanation of what I meant, which is fine.
Yeah. Up next, I've got a unit. I've just got like a big 20-man unit of Poxwalkers because how
God
can you
bless
run
America.
Poxwalkers and not run 20 of them?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
They should be shambling along, muttering brains.
Was it you I was playing on Tabletop Simulator, or was it Talbaz?
I think that was Talbaz.
Yeah, where he's like, I have 20 Poxwalkers. I'm like, I'm gonna kill 8 of those guys, and then he's like, I will eat 8 of your witches. Now I have 20 again. Screw you, Talbaz. Worst. Stupid.
He was nice enough to give me a teaching game. He can't be that bad.
Cool.
I mean,
that's good.
No, he's really nice in the most terrible way possible.
Next up, I've just got a Tallyman, and they don't have any like weapon variation. They just have a plasma pistol on top of their little Nurgling helper.
Well, yeah,
which does nothing for stats, but means everything.
Everyone needs a little helper. Everyone needs a little friend.
Yep.
Then, of course, we've got a Plague Surgeon to go and steal that sweet gene seed from whoever they're fighting, as well as make sure that the Death Guard can continue moving on. Mm-hmm. But with how tough they are, they don't really need the help.
I love that it doesn't matter where they get the gene seed from anymore.
Yeah,
I think the Iron Warriors
take
do it too. They're just like, yeah, these guys will be Death Guard. No, don't worry about that. It's not actually Death Guard Gene Seed. They'll be Death Guard. It's fine.
They'll be Death Guard in the end. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted to add Terminators to this list, but they're just maybe later.
It's super spendy. Yeah, they can come in as reinforcements later.
I'm absolutely going to add Terminators to this list eventually, though. Especially Death Shroud Terminators, too. I think they're both awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool models for both of them.
The appearance of them and how they fit in the army lore-wise, I think it's, absolutely.
And then I've got a Fetid Bloat Drone, and I do not have the Flesh Mower on it. I have...
what?
Plague Spitters.
Unsubscribe.
To be fair, they were pre-assembled.
Okay.
Because I bought this army off of someone who was like, I'm never going to build these. So if I would have known they had Flesh Mowers, I would have done it.
I'll allow it.
And then I have 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, and I have no idea what the side guns on them are, because at least for one of them, I'm probably going to do one with what's
Entropy
it called?
Cannons.
Yeah, and then another one with Plague Spitters.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool having one set up for close in and one set up for ranged. Not a bad idea. I love the idea of the Entropy Cannon, though. It's like you can shoot somebody and they never existed.
They're just gone.
Yeah. No, that's
Vibe
fantastic.
checked out of reality.
Yeah, right? I love it.
I think this piece is an Entropy Cannon, but I'm not sure. It's probably not super clear.
No, it is not. But that's okay. I love that model. And the lore of your army implies that you should have at least 2. So I like that.
They're honestly really cool.
Do you have any Hellbrutes yet?
I don't, but I'm probably gonna buy one soon.
Right.
I kind of want to. I have like a whole box full of Plague Marines that I want to build first before I go and buy other models. But I've already broken that rule because I went to the store and I bought a Predator tank. An Imperium Predator tank. Well, so I'm going to take it. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to put maybe some green stuff or something, get it rolled out really thin. And then I think Ned in the IC's Discord told me just take some little BBs for a BB gun and poke them in there to make it look like little flesh holes or whatever.
Pustules. What do they call it in the GW books? Buboes. I've never Googled buboes because I'm afraid of what will come up.
They called them that when I played Vermintide too. I was really confused when it was shoot the buboes.
It's a British thing.
What's a bubo?
Yeah, what's a bubo? I think it's like a pus-filled sack or something.
Probably.
I'm not gonna look it up.
Something absolutely disgusting.
Something gross. Yeah, that's really what it is.
Come on, Adam. You know you want to look it up.
No, I don't. So yeah, you need to buy a Hellbrute. That'll be cool.
That's for sure. If I'm buying a Hellbrute, he's definitely getting a hammer because I love hammers.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So we're gonna take a break. Thank you for sharing your lore with us, by the way, John. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome.
That's really cool. We like the opportunity to not have to do things, and
thank you for having me on here.
Oh, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about a couple of house rules that I came up with for this one. And wait, not and. We'll just be right back.
Come here, boy. Get the ball. Aw, come on, Max. Get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh boy, I'd better feed Max his Zotobix.
Yes, you had.
Zotobix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert deathworms.
Ah!
Zotobix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Welcome back. So I put together a special army of renown for John's army. Okay. It is the Ferric Blight host. I'm going to read the introduction here, Jason. And if you want to pick up on the restrictions after that. Although legions such as the Iron Warriors are well known for their mastery of demon engines, the hosts of Grandfather are not without their own special panache for enslaving unwitting machine spirits to their cause. The underlying motivations for their code undergo unholy transformation under the ministrations of virulent electronic viruses, while their carapaces and inner workings are assaulted by the Ferric Blight. These esoteric blessings of Nurgle are easily transmitted from one machine to the next, and soon an entire phalanx of rusted, grinding, choking, and spewing engines is encroaching on the enemy positions. Although the vehicles making up a Ferric Blight host appear structurally compromised, very little actually remains of the original workings of their filthy middens. The glorious gifts of Grandfather have made them capable of implacable grinding assaults which can break the enemy lines, opening them up for opportunities for the infantry following close behind. So a Ferric Blight host is an army of renown, so see page 65 of the Book of Rust for what that means. We talked about it in the last episode, 2 episodes ago, so.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Ha! Yeah. So, restrictions. Your army may only include vehicles, unless some of their vehicles have transport capacity. If your vehicles can embark infantry, then your army may include, at a maximum, enough bubonic Astartes infantry models to all be deployed within those transports all at once. Note that the benefits of this army of renown allow these infantry to be deployed in transports which are not usually Death Guard. Every unit in your army must have the Nurgle keyword, and at least one unit in your army must be of the Pallid Hand Plague host. That's pretty cool. All right, benefits. All of your army, all the units in your army gain the Death Guard keyword if they don't already have it, and the Ferric Host keyword. All vehicle units in your army gain the Demon Engine keyword if they don't already have it. All vehicle units in your army which are not super heavy gain the Disgustingly Resilient ability if they don't already have it. Ooh.
I like that one.
Yeah. All vehicle units in your army gain the Ferric Outbreak ability described below.
Right. So the whole point of this is to just take whatever chaos vehicles you want and put them in the same army, and they all become Death Guard.
That is pretty cool.
The only thing I didn't do was say, okay, so if you take a knight, an Imperial Knight, and it's a Nurgle infected Imperial Knight, it's not going to get disgustingly resilient. I think that might be a little much.
That could be brutal.
So I decided to tap the brakes on that. So the additional thing you get is this Ferric Outbreak. So treat this unit's contagion range as being 6 inches longer for the purposes of affecting enemy fortifications, vehicles, and bikes. So if you're at 1 inch, 3 inches, 6 inches, whatever. So say your contagion range is 6 inches normally. It would go out to 12 inches if you're affecting vehicles. So a vehicle would have a -1 toughness, 6 inches longer than the infantry would. Enemy fortifications, vehicles, and bike units within contagion range of this unit reduce their movement characteristic by 3 inches and roll D3 for advancing instead of D6, but they can charge normally. So the idea is that the Ferric Blight is hampering their movement, clogging their engines with goop. The Warlord trait is you can take a special Warlord trait for a Ferric host character, and it gives them a special aura called Gift of Rust. So thanks to the grandfather's gifts, this warlord has learned ways of coaxing life back into dying machines. So select a Ferric host vehicle that's within 3 inches of this warlord during the movement phase, and then select one of 2 effects. You can either do Invigorating Virulence or Fecund Restorative. For Invigorating Virulence, if the vehicle has a degrading profile, it may act as if it were undamaged until the end of the turn. Or for the Fecund Restorative, for each wound the vehicle has suffered below its maximum starting wounds, roll a dice. On a 5+, that wound is restored. So if you've taken 7 damage, you roll 7 dice, and for every 5+, you restore a wound.
Nice. Okay.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a nice version of the old Feel No Pain rule. All right.
Yeah, but it's like the war.
Works.
You have to select a model to do it instead of just everybody getting it. That would be way too powerful, right? So instead it's something that the warlord does, and if you wanted to stop it from happening, you could just kill that warlord, right? So it's a bit more, I think it's a bit more balanced.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. All right, so stratagems. So we've got a few stratagems here. Looks like we have 3. First up is our Ferric Surge, 1 command point. Use this stratagem during your shooting phase or your combat phase. Select one enemy fortification, vehicle, or bike unit which is within contagion range of a Ferric host unit. Units in your army may reroll a roll of 1 to wound when targeting that selected unit. If the weapon is a plague weapon, then it can reroll a failed roll to wound instead. In either case, this effect lasts until the end of the phase.
Right. So you're basically making one person, you're making one unit super sick, one vehicle super sick, and it's going to be easier to wound that vehicle.
Yeah. All right. Frenzied auto consumption. All right. One command point. Use a stratagem at the start of your turn. Select a Ferric host vehicle unit from your army. It suffers D3 mortal wounds. Until the end of that turn, the vehicle adds D3 to its attack characteristic and rerolls all failed charge rolls. Huh. So
that's interesting.
Would that stack on the what was the warlord trait? The Fecund Restorative?
Well, yeah, you would probably want to try to heal it after, but it wouldn't help you if you accidentally kill it before it gets to do anything.
Creeping Doom Bombard Shelves. Ooh. 2 command points. Use a stratagem immediately before a Ferric host vehicle unit shoots a blast weapon. Resolve attacks with the weapon as normal. Once all attacks have been resolved, select a unit which was hit by this weapon. That unit and all units within 7 inches suffer a penalty to all morale checks equal the number of models slain by the Ferric host vehicle's blast weapon this phase. That's fun.
Yeah, I was just imagining like the Death Guard vehicles and what they do, right? So like they have these bombards that shoot gross at you, and everybody around you gets gross. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it'll do splash damage, like if you're in a trench and it like this cloud of gross goes wafting around down the trenches and kills more people with mortal wounds. But I thought, this would be more interesting as kind of a morale thing. Because I'm imagining like mustard gas and Agent Orange and all these horrible things that happened during the 20th century wars. And I can imagine that the effect on morale must be just almost as bad as the damaging effects themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching people be consumed by these horrible diseases in lightning fast speed must be really impactful for those who witness it happening.
Especially if you're like knowledgeable about how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were an Inquisitor or something and you knew like they probably cultivated that bacteria from piles of dead guardsmen or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So the idea of this is, you're mostly vehicles. You can take infantry, but they have to fit in the vehicle. So you have to take transports to go with them. So I think there's definitely downsides to it. You're going to have infantry, but you're not going to have a lot of infantry. And it's not like you can take infantry from other books. It specifically says they have to be Bubotic Astartes. So it's not like you can take regular Chaos Space Marines or regular cultists. They would have to be Nurgly ones, and they would have to fit in a transport. So I think that this army would even have a harder time holding objectives than Nurgle already does. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, John? What do you think about the benefits that you get to outweigh those restrictions?
I mean, I think it sounds really cool for the most part. Like, the way I would imagine doing this is probably, in my mind, I see like taking 3 Rhino transports, which, if I'm correctly, can hold, or 10. Maybe even like, well, probably not a couple of Land Raiders. Those are 15 power, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Terminators would be unlikely in this force unless you wanted to bring a Land Raider.
That's definitely no Terminators. But if you take a couple of Rhinos, then that's 20 Plague Marines right there.
Yeah.
Which can be either 2 units or 4 units.
Right. You could just do 3 units of 5, and then your characters would fit into Rhinos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would imagine probably just taking the Rhinos, dropping off the infantry on objectives, and then just using the vehicles to just annihilate the enemy.
Right.
Basically, because that sounds like how these guys would roll.
Someone said something about I don't know if it was someone said it was the Iron Warriors or the Death Guard who actually like they took a bunch of Rhinos and hooked them to each other, and they used them as a fortification, like as a defense. I think it was the Iron Warriors.
That sounds like Iron Warriors.
I think that's Iron Warriors.
Same deal, man. Those Rhinos, they can really block really well. And I like using a Rhino, and it's not like they're terrible. I mean, you throw a few combi bolters on there, and they're spitting out damage, man. They really are spitting out some damage.
Yeah, rapid fire 2 is no joke. Mm-hmm. The Havoc launcher seems cool too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would load those up with weapons. I would do 3 of those, and then 3 units of 7 Plague Marines, and put your characters in there, and then load up with a bunch of weird plague, Nurgly things. Like you could even go with like a Defiler, because the way this works is they become Death Guard, right? They become Death Guard Defilers, or they become Death Guard. Whatever demon engines are in Chaos Space Marines, you can use with this.
I think the Defiler's actually, the Defiler's already in the book, but
it is. Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't see the other one,
Maulerfiend?
whatever it's called. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and the Helldrake and the there's two. There's like a shooty one and an attacky one. But anyways, that's the idea. The idea is to get a bunch of vehicles in there and give you access to more vehicles, but have that more difficult holding the objectives. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Can confirm, no Helldrake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have a mission here. I'm hoping that maybe we can play this mission for this episode, John. It's still a little bit up in the air. We haven't played the mission yet, and we have limited time, and I'm very, very tired. We're going to try to get this mission in for the end of this episode. It's called 3x7. It's a legendary mission. You want to start us off with the mission briefing, Jason?
Yeah, sure. I was actually going to make a comment about 3/7 as your son's birthday, and the only reason I know his birthday is because of this, because of Nurgle's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to put that out there. All right, so 3x7 legendary mission. Mission briefing: a sept of Nurgle worshippers are attempting to summon forth their patron, a great unclean one. Unfortunately for them, the enemy forces have learned of their sacred site and are attempting to put a stop to their foul ritual.
Yeah, so I set this up so it doesn't actually have to be Death Guard. You could do any Nurgle mixture that you want. The deployment map is Longways, with the Nurgle side taking up half of the map. Mm-hmm. And the attacker is 18 inches away from them. So they have kind of a long haul to get to the ritual site. And then there are 3 objectives arranged in a very Nurgle-y fashion. 2 of them are along the deployment edge, like the middle of the battlefield, and then 1 of them is deeper in the deployment zone in a triangle. So for the mission rules, wow, there's a lot here. I went crazy. I think I was very tired this morning. These may be a lot wordier than I had intended them to be. Oh my God, there's so much. Okay, that's fine. I'll read the first 3. Battlefield roles: the Nurgle player is the defender, while the opposition is the attacker. There's not a lot of this I don't think I saw any of this in the Plague Purge. We talked about how there isn't a lot of asymmetrical missions. This is definitely asymmetrical. Yeah. In this battle, the defender must go first. Assault: the players have access to the assault stratagems on page 17 of Plague Purge mission pack. Ritual of summoning. So the defending army can perform the following action. Ritual of summoning action. 1 infantry unit from your army can perform this ritual if they're in range of an objective marker at the end of your movement phase. The action is completed at the start of your next command phase. If this unit consists of 7 models exactly, then the action is completed at the end of your turn instead. This action does not immediately fail if the enemy models are within range of the objective or engagement range of the unit performing it.
Next up, we have... Go ahead.
So you have to wait until the start of the next turn for it to be completed unless you have exactly 7 models in your unit.
Okay. That'll work.
Nice.
All right, so fodder for the Blight. Keep a fodder tally during the combat phase. Increase the fodder tally by 1 for each enemy model which is destroyed within 7 inches of an objective that you are performing the ritual of summoning on. At the end of the combat phase, if there are any enemy models within engagement range of the unit performing the ritual of summoning or within range of the objective they are performing the action on, roll a number of dice equal to your fodder tally. If you do not score a 6-up on any of those dice, the action fails. Reset the fodder tally to 0 at the end of the battle round. Well, that's interesting.
So normally when you're performing an action and someone comes within range of you, the action automatically fails. Instead, for this one, it only fails if it has a less chance of failing, because if you kill a bunch of the guys, they actually help the ritual instead of hurting it.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on real quick. Garden's Bounty. A unit's models are treated as being in light cover if they are within range of an objective marker. At the start of the combat phase, if any of the attacker's units are within range of an objective marker, each of those units suffers D3 mortal wounds. Nice.
Just straight up. Because it's actually going to be kind of difficult for the defender to actually perform these actions. Mm-hmm. So I think the attacker needed a little bit of a negative here.
Yeah. All right. The gate opens. At the moment the defender scores 60 victory points, the gate to Nurgle's garden opens, and the Great Unclean One steps out. This model may be set up anywhere between the 3 objective markers, and it may be set up within engagement range of enemy models. Cool.
Oh yeah. Big boy comes out to play.
Like a big, disgusting version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. All right.
Yep. Boom. So the mission objectives are very simple. Okay, they're complicated but simple, right? So the main objective is obviously to summon that. It's to summon that Great Unclean One. So the vectors of summoning are more potent at specific intervals of time throughout the battle. So the defender scores victory points for performing the ritual of summoning. We refer to a table for determining how many victory points you get. So each objective marker reaches its most virulent at certain points in the game. So on turn 1, the south vector is the most virulent. On turn 2, the north vector is most virulent. On turn 3, the east vector is most virulent. And in each of those situations, they're worth 20 victory points each. So the south objective is worth 20 VP on turn 1, but then only 10 VP on turn 2, and then only 5 VP thereafter. So it's kind of each objective is worth more on different turns of the game. If you manage to do the south vector on turn 1, the north vector on turn 2, and the east vector on turn 3, you'll summon the Great Unclean One on turn 3. Otherwise, you'll have to kind of dance around and hope you get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hope you get kind of collect little 10s and 5s here and there to get them by turn 5. What I had thought about was using the method of letting the defender determine which objective was which before the game starts, and not reveal it until later, until they actually started doing it. That way, it makes sure that the attacker doesn't mob one objective. But I think with allowing the action to continue, even if there are models within range, or at least having the chance of it continuing, I think that helps. I really want to play test this because I think it's almost there.
Yeah. This is a fun idea. Like I'm liking how this works as I'm looking at it, because it looks like it could be run. It definitely
looks really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You'd have to have some fast units though to get across to some of those places.
Right. I think you're almost guaranteed to get that first 20 points. And I think that's fine. I think narratively,
secure objectives.
Drones? Oh, anybody can hold an objective. The problem is
objective secured.
Yeah, having objective secured. Now, like I said, I think you're almost guaranteed to get that first 20 points because the enemy has to move 18 inches across the battlefield to get to you.
Right.
So hopefully you kind of mob that one up with some screening units up front, maybe those rhinos, and drop some plague marines on there and say, boom, I got this one. It'll be the fight for the north vector that'll be tough because it's right on the deployment line, and you don't score 20 VP for it until turn 2. So both armies have to kind of... Right. The attacker might just let you... might concede the first objective and just head straight for the second objective and make that the big fight, you know?
Yeah.
It's all kind of a mind game. So the attacker also scores 10 VP every time the defender fails the Ritual of Summoning action. So that's how they score. They score by delaying you. And then the attacker also has an end game objective. If they kill the Great Unclean one, they score 60 victory points. Simple.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they basically negate
wow.
your victory if they kill the Great Unclean one. John, what do you think? Would you be interested in trying this mission out?
Absolutely. I don't know how good I'll be.
I won't be good either because I'll be playing Grey Knights. I would be playing Grey Knights, which I've never played before.
Awesome.
Ooh. I think that would be fun. This sounds like a terrible idea for a work night, but maybe we'll get the first couple turns down before we have to call it a night.
Maybe.
Does that sound?
We'll have a good 6 hours.
Right. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We're going to take a quick break and come back. Maybe you'll hear a game. If not, we'll come back and close out the show.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said.
Hey, mofos. Are you looking for more Warhammer
Anyways,
40k video content?
Welcome back.
Well, the Scarred Cast
Pope John
posts
and I
regular
are
battle
gonna get
reports
our
as well as
game in.
tactics
We're very
and
excited.
strategy
Or at least
videos.
I'm very excited.
Be sure to check out all the cool
John
hobby
has to go to
content
work
for the
after me,
avid
so I'm so
tabletop
excited to be home.
wargamer. That's Scarred Cast, SKARD
to just be
on
hanging
YouTube.
out.
Right? And without the sword of Damocles hanging over your head.
Oh no, there's still a sword. It's just, it's not Damocles now. It's just kind of like, the local diner.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
That didn't work. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You're the worst. So,
working on it.
So, like we said, I'll be playing the Grey Knights, which will be great because I don't know what I'm doing. And John is going to be playing Death Guard. He's bringing his, super tank list. So it's going to be fun. So why don't I give everybody we're going to be playing the mission that we talked about. So we don't have to go over that. And our battlefield is definitely a Nurgly battlefield. There's a playmat in Tabletop Simulator that has a gross symbol of Nurgle on it, and there's gross Nurgle trees. It's pretty awesome. So here's my list. My list is a battalion. I have a brother captain. He's got a Nemesis Demon Hammer, and a Silencer. I guess their HQs can have sweet heavy weapons. Good for them. He's my warlord. He's got Hammer Hand and Demon Slayer Warlord trait, which means your opponent subtracts 1 from any invulnerable save made against all my attacks. That's awesome. I have the Destroyer of Chrysalix. It's a hammer. It does ×2. It's strength ×2, AP -3, damage 4.
That sounds
That feels pretty good. I don't know about you guys. It sounds pretty great. That sounds like 3-1 characters are going to be very pissed off about that. I have a librarian. My librarian has a Nemesis warding stave and a Stormbolter. His psychic powers are Gate of Infinity, which is a super cheaty power that lets me teleport stuff, and Purge Soul, which I don't even know what it does. I think we roll off leadership and you take mortal wounds equal to the difference. So that could be really good or just pointless. I also have a Brotherhood Ancient. My Brotherhood Ancient has a Nemesis Falchion, and that's it. And he has Hammerhand. I'm not sure. I have to actually read these guys' rules because I had to take a psychic power for each of these units, and I feel like they only roll 1 dice for psychic powers or something. I really need to read what they do because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I probably could have done that. I probably could have done that earlier today, but I definitely didn't do that.
Powers or not, so I still haven't picked mine out.
Oh, yeah, no. That's fine. It'll be instantaneous to the listener. They're already laughing at us. So the Brotherhood Ancient, he has some cool abilities, right? He has the Sacred Banner. Friendly Grey Knights units within 6 inches of any Sacred Banner add 1 to their leadership characteristic. In addition, models from Friendly Grey Knights infantry units that are within 6 inches of any Sacred Banners, when they fight, can make 1 additional attack that phase. That's pretty good.
That sounds really
extra attack.
Awesome, actually.
It sounds somewhat inappropriate, but that's okay. I have 2 strike squads. They are loaded out differently, but I don't really remember. One has an incinerator, and they have 4 swords. The other one has that one also has an incinerator and 4 swords. Okay, I thought they were different for some reason. It's fine. Incinerators rule anyways. It is a purgation force after all. We're hunting. Be very, very quiet. We're hunting. No, I have a Terminator squad. One of those squads has Nemesis Force Swords and a Psy Cannon and a Demon Hammer. The other Terminator squad has an Incinerator. So they're loaded out a little bit differently. For one of those Terminator squads and the Brother Captain, I have a Land Raider Redeemer. It shoots fire at you. It's got all the upgrades. I've also got a Nemesis Dread Knight. I gave that guy a heavy Psy Cannon, a heavy Incinerator, and a Nemesis Greatsword. I have 2 Rhinos for the strike squads. I also have 2 squads of Interceptors. I'm not sure if they're loaded out differently. This one has a Psy Cannon, a Hammer, and Halberds. The other one has a Psy Cannon, Demon Hammer, and Halberd. Okay, so they're loaded out the same. So I don't know. I just figured I'll just try different weapons. It's kind of whatever. Those guys are going to be jumping around the board. But that's it. It's a very small force because it's Grey Knights. But it's beautiful.
It sounds terrifying.
I love it. It's pretty interesting. Now, I think I have come across the rule. So why don't I have a look at it and we'll see what it means, because I don't know. Oh, goodness, it's really long. So, yeah, Masters of the Warp, they have like this tied. Okay, I'm going to read this quietly to myself while you tell us what's in your list.
So, like Adam already mentioned, I'm bringing a pretty vehicle-heavy list just because I was given the opportunity to play with all the toys, and I want to play with all the toys. So to start out, for HQs, I'm running a Spearhead detachment, and for HQs, I have a Lord of Contagion and a Malignant Plague Caster. Just standard loadout for them, nothing really different. As already mentioned, I don't know what my psychic powers are going to be. And this would be my first time running a Psyker, so I have no idea what they do. Yeah.
This is a good game for it.
So we're gonna skip over those. I've got 2 squads of 7 Plague Marines. I've got 1 squad that I've dotedly called Beat Squad, and another squad that I call Shoot Squad. Just because I like to specialize like that. Beat Squad has, let me see. Got a Great Plague Cleaver, a Flail of Corruption, a champion with a Power Fist and a Plasma Pistol, as well as I think just I don't get much else in terms of two-handed weapons, but I do have a guy with a, what's it called? An Icon of Despair. That's what it is. And he's just got a bolter. And the rest just have bolters and plague knives. And then the Shooty squad, we've got a guy with a Blight launcher, another guy with a Plague Belcher, another guy with a Plague Spewer, a guy with a Sigil of Decay. So each time an attack is made with a bolt weapon by a model with a bearer's unit, unmodified hit rolls of 6 automatically wound. And then the champion, I believe I gave him a plasma gun because plasma is awesome. I've got 2 Hellbrutes. I've got one with a Hellbrute hammer and a quad bolt gun, I think it is. Is that what it's called? That's probably what it's called.
No, it's combi bolter.
It's probably what it is. I know, maybe it was in the equipment. I know last time I ran it with a quad something. But he's got a Hellbrute hammer. Yeah, it must have just been a combi bolter. I'm tripping. So a Hellbrute hammer and a combi bolter, and then I've got another one.
Or is it a multi-melta?
I think I just got them mixed up. And then I've got another one with another Hellbrute hammer because I love hammers, and a Reaper autocannon.
Yeah. It's obviously hammer time.
And then I have 2 Noxious Blightbringers, which are just... They're the bell guys, if you've ever seen those. And I don't think they have anything besides like their bog standard bell and plasma pistol. They couldn't like.
They must be all about the auras.
They've got that sickening vitality aura. So when things are within 6 inches, each time a unit is selected to make a normal move or advance. Yeah. It looks like, friendly units is 6 inches. Whenever they make a normal move or advance until end of the phase, they add 1 inch to the movement characteristic. They have Toxin of Misery, spelled Tocsin. Interesting.
Well,
while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, subtract 1 from the combat attrition test taken for that unit. And Empiric Malaise. When an enemy Psyker unit is within 6 inches of this model, subtract 1 from psychic test taken for that unit. So fun. And then, for some fast attack, have a unit of 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers. And they're just like the little Nurgle buggies almost. They're gross. They have Bile Spurts, missile launchers, multi-meltas, and Gnashing Maws. And they have a Putrid Explosion. So when they destroy, you roll a d6 before removing it from play. And on a 4-up, it explodes in each unit that's not a Nurgle unit. So within 6 inches, suffers a mortal wound. It's also got the normal demonic 5-up invulnerable. And it has Foul Stench. So whenever a melee attack is made against it, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Yeah. I mean, understandable. We don't
They're
like
very
things
stinky.
that are stinky.
They do look very stinky too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very delicate as Space Marines go.
They didn't have a Chaos Land Raider. It's just got a Havoc Launcher, twin heavy bolters, twin las cannons. I could have given it some combi bolters and stuff, but I don't want to worry. I don't want to get too complicated.
Well, I mean, I'm just happy that it'll be Land Raider versus
they gotta
Land Raider.
fight.
They need to fight.
They're gonna like ram into each other or something.
Clearly, it's true. And what I love is that we're going to be using the Army of Renown that I came up with. So all of your vehicles are going to have Disgustingly Resilient.
It should be very fun. Now I'm still a little bit new. The Armies of Renown, are they kind of like the old formations? A little bit.
Yeah, sort of. So what happens is you're restricted to what kind of models you can take, but you get a few extra special abilities. The difference from the old formations is like in the past, the old formations, you could take the formation, but you could also take other stuff to help shore up the restrictions. You know, it's like, oh no, I can only take this in the formation. I'll just take another formation that works well with it. In the Armies of Renown, your whole army is limited instead of just a detachment or just a formation. Okay. So, okay.
Almost done.
Let's have your list isn't complete.
This was 100 power level, right?
Oh, more vehicles.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes. So fun story. I did 100 power level. It ended up being 1964.
Yeah, my points are 2384.
Nice. Well, because we decided that you could take an additional Plague Marine for one power level.
Since I'm stopping at 7 and I'm not going to 10 or whatever.
Yeah. So that's why it's so high. Just in case.
Next up, I've got a Chaos Predator Annihilator. And that's got 2 heavy bolters, a las cannon, and then or no, it doesn't have las cannon. It has 2 heavy bolters and a twin las cannon for the main turret. A Chaos Predator Destructor, which I have 2 las cannons and a Predator autocannon. 2 Plagueverse Crawlers, which let me look at those.
Mm-hmm. Those are great.
I've got, the normal mortars. I've got one with 2 Plague Spitters and another one with 2 Entropy Cannons. And then I have 2 Chaos Rhinos to top it all off. And those
love it.
Those both have Havoc Launchers and Combi Melta.
Okay. All right. Well, that looks like fun. That sounds like we're going to have a great time. So again, I will be assaulting your position where you're going to be trying to summon forth a Greater Demon of Nurgle. Let's see if I can manage to get that done. I'm not going to be putting anything in reserve. It's all going to be on the battlefield. I am going to deep strike 1 unit of Terminators. Everybody else is going to be either riding or there'll be interceptors who can teleport anyways. So that's fine. All right. Are you ready? Ready?
I think I'm about as ready as I can be.
All right. All right. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and tell you how the game went. So we haven't finished the game yet. We decided to do a midway point recap because it got late last night and we decided to finish the game tonight. So John and I have been kind of going back and forth. I really had no answer for getting the first objective.
Yeah, I was on that immediately.
Yeah, you were right on that. Exposed the models there, and you were like, "I'm just going to score this," and but damned if you get routed off it. I didn't. I kind of committed some. So you scored 20 points on the first objective, and I kind of pushed for the second one. You did put a bunch of models on there. You put your Plague Marines on there. On the right side, you put there's like a Rhino and a couple of Predators covering that area.
Yeah.
And you've got your bombardment cannons kind of hidden in the back, spreading fire around, and the Hellbrutes are kind of coming up the middle. And I really pushed a lot to the right side in the hopes of stopping you from scoring 20 points in the second round. And I think I was successful in that.
You were very successful.
Yeah, I had my models on there. You couldn't even start your action to your ritual action on that objective. So you decided to do the action on the same objective as before, but for fewer points.
Yep. Just stuff happens sometimes. I did lose my second 7-man unit of Plague Marines, so by 2 infantry units, so that kind of sucked. But I'm still. I think Papa Nurgle was going to come out on top in all this.
Yeah, it's not going too bad for you. Right now, the third. So we're going into round 3. So the third objective, which is in your deployment zone, like way deep in your deployment zone, is now the 20-point objective. It's my turn, and I'll be. I on turn 2, I did try deep striking a unit of interceptors back there with a psychic power, and I did deep strike the Ancient, the Brotherhood Ancient back there, and I failed all those charges. I deep struck my Terminators on one flank against your Mephitic Blight Haulers. They also failed their charge. So on your turn 3, I have a feeling that you also had a lot of models near that third objective. So
not planned.
There was no way I was going to get on it
either.
Yeah. So
it just kind of happened that way.
It was really good. But I did kind of. I'm sweeping through your right flank. I've got some vehicles engaged and stuff. So hopefully I can push at that third objective before you can score it. There's literally no way to get a 7-man unit onto that objective this turn.
No, I think they have a way.
Well, the 7-man unit is way over on the right next to a Rhino. You can get in the Rhino, but you can't get out of the Rhino.
Oh, you can't get out of the Rhino.
Yeah. So fortunately for me, you're going to have to dedicate like a vehicle or something to doing that objective. And since it's not a 7-man unit, it won't finish until the start of your next hero phase. So you'll have to choose either to try to perform the ritual on objective 3 and get 20, hopefully get that 20 points, or try to do it on objective 1 again. I think it's only worth 5 points this turn. So we'll see. It's going to be tough, but you might be able to do it. Most of my deep strike has come in already. All I have left is the Nemesis Dread Knight. The Librarian could conceivably teleport something else, but I really don't have a whole lot over there left. You have done a lot of damage to me. The Strike Squad's only having 1 wound was very difficult for me, but And also the only having one attack per model also was very difficult in 2 attacks on these Terminators. Your Plague Marines really had some great resilience there, buddy.
They are awesome in melee.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have a guy with an axe, a guy with a flail, and a guy with a fist, and they were just knocking me out.
Yeah,
knocking me out.
It's rough.
So what do you think? Do you think you're going to try and cap Objective 3 with a vehicle for 20 points, or are you going to try to go for Objective 1 again? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to. I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to reassess what I was gonna do, because I thought I could get the guys in a rhino and then have them just pop out.
Right. All right, guys. All right. Well, we'll take a break and we'll come back and finish the game. Hope is looming in the darkness.
I'm always looming in the darkness.
Jason is highlighted by a fine sheen of cat hair. I am glowing.
Not wrong.
I am glowing with Dos Amigos. So, guys, that was interesting. I made one last glorious charge attempt against your final objective with multiple units and failed horribly. You proceeded to decimate the rest of the Grey Knight forces with your horrible plague weapons and las cannons, and
it was awesome.
Demon engines. Oh, it was amazing. So much silvered armor was rent asunder during our battle, but Lord Barbados managed to launch himself at your lord, and your lord launched himself at Barbados, and somehow I was able to land multiple blows. Yeah, he just sat there and kept on smashing you with his hammer over and over and over again, like, because he was very upset. But little did he know that there was a great unclean one looming in the darkness behind him, creeping up on him. So, unfortunately, while there was some comeuppance involved, in the end, the Death Guard are victorious. Well done.
As always. One cannot stop the slow grinding halt of the Death Guard.
That's true. I agree. Well, that was a fun game. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know about that mission. Actually, seems pretty balanced. Actually,
yeah.
But
even when
we played it once,
we did play it once, and we were also using the other rules too for the basically the spearhead Death Guard.
Yeah. All of your vehicles had disgustingly resilient. That was the main thing, really, and the fact that you can take them all and not lose any of your benefits.
I don't think we used the healing part even once. I think we just forgot about it.
No, we forgot. We just forgot about it because you didn't need it.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't. If I was killing a vehicle, I was killing it with giant hammers.
Yeah, I was getting killed pretty quick.
Yeah. But you were also doing a lot of really good killing. It was a lot of fun. I think before I send out the PDF, I don't think I'm going to change anything. I don't see a reason to. But what I do see a reason for is to have you on again, to have another game at some point.
That would be awesome.
I think that would be nice. Yep. I feel like when you do your Crusade Force for your Death Guard, you should roll up a some kind of battle scar for your Lord, because
yeah, I definitely got to do that.
That'd be fun. Also, a little note, John. If you get a dog, if your landlord sees the dog, you just say your dog's sitting for a friend.
Yeah.
And just every time he sees the dog or she sees the dog, just say, "Yeah, I'm babysitting again." It's no big deal.
I don't know if I'd be able to pull the wool over their eyes for that long.
Well, if you need wool, Jason has it. He's got plenty over there.
I'll just get like a lizard.
Just use
or something.
Get the vacuum cleaner out of his keyboard. I'm sure there's plenty of wool in there.
I cleaned it last week. That's why I got that key puller.
Okay, so I'm going to need... I'll shave my chest and send you some wool.
Oh my god.
You know what? That would be too itchy.
Much wool.
Yeah, you're right. I'll shave my legs and give you the wool from there. So on that disgusting note, we'll go from slightly inebriated Adam to
yesterday's
sober Adam. Yeah, several days ago, sober Adam, for closing out the show. But thanks so much, you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Yeah, no problem. I love being here.
Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Aramon can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions. Oh, we've reached level 6. All right, John, thanks so much for coming. Thanks so much. If anybody in the IC's forums is wondering, this John is actually Pope on the Discord. So thanks for joining us, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. Even though, I don't feel like I have as much as some of the other people, but I have only just started as well. Well, I did want to talk about it a little bit.
We talked for 2 hours about the nothing, so I think maybe you had something there. Then we enjoyed talking about it.
All right,
definitely.
So next time we're going to be chatting about Deacon of Wounds. So some more Nurgly discussion. Yeah. I think we've become we're currently the Nurgle cast. I think
it's very fitting.
It is very fitting. Oh, Jesus, yeah. But until then...
Hold on. We need to remind people about the Discord channel.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Is that not in our social media bump?
Yeah, but I don't know that people actually listen to the social media bump. So only because I've had people ask about the Discord channel. Do y'all have like a Discord channel? It's like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have a Discord channel. We do have a Discord channel, and we actually, if I'm playing a game on TTS, I'll stream it there too.
Yeah.
And if you want to hang out while we play a game,
I'll definitely do that on Thursday.
So. All right, cool, awesome,
okay, cool.
So yeah, next time Deacon of Wounds, but until then,
play the game the way you want to.
Oh, he got the cue. Look at that.
Yeah, he did.
You're hired.
You're hired. Many F-bombs. Yeah. Hold on. I applaud you, good sir. I applaud you.
Yay. We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge. And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
You can also contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor. Thanks again for listening.
The music used in this podcast was made by Podod of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We